Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. It's great to see such a great group today. It's exciting to know that winter has finally hit us, and it came with a vengeance today. But you got to know that it's great times to be in our city of Belton, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here. I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting this event again, and you guys got to know our Chamber has done a great job. And I know they're active in everything. I know Saturday we had the Veterans Parade, which was a great event for our city. And then we turned around and had later here in this building, and it was packed, was the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. And it was packed and was spectacular. I know the park had to take care of this place during that evening. And then I went over to the Chamber event, which was the Turkey Bowl, which I saw a lot of people throwing frozen birds down the lane and doing really well and winning lots of prizes. So it was a lot of fun. Our Chamber is doing great. And again, our director, Diane Huckshorn, has done a spectacular job of coordinating all this, and I got to give her an applause for all that she does. I probably ought to go back and introduce our council members. Please stand up real quick. Council members, and then county, we'll get you started too. I got Councilman Clark over here, Dave Clark. I got Mayor Pro Tem Lori Peak. I got Gary Lathrop, Councilman, over here, and I got Councilman Chet Trutzel over here. Thank you. Over here, we've got county guys, and you guys are going to have to put your forks down. You got to stand up. All you county guys, I've got Roger Rafferty here with us today. We've got Jeff Fletcher. What are you, the county what? Clerk? Oh boy, that's a mouthful. Okay, Commissioner Odom and Commissioner Bob Houston. Thank you all for being here today. What a year! And if anybody ever sees what I say all the time is the word "wow." What a year for Belton! And I mean that we're so blessed, and I mean that from the middle of my heart that we have been blessed. It doesn't take much to see the blessing that our community's had. The city has made significant headway this year. We've had three major goals. 2 years ago, it came through our City Council strategic planning session, and we're going to lean on those a lot today. This was 2 years ago, and the staff has done a great job of keeping us on track. At the strategic planning session, council members and city department discussed the top issues that we hear from our constituents and citizens. And from that data, the council came away with three specific priorities. Number one was roads and infrastructure. Number two was public safety. Number three was code enforcement. And it all boils down to quality of life. And we've achieved success this year with every priority. We're going to talk about all those just briefly. And I have timed it, and it's not 30 minutes. Okay. Speaking of quality of life, and it's only appropriate that we talk about the park department first. And I know I see a park member back there, Mike Miller, eating a bite right now. Park people, why don't you stand up real quick so everybody knows who you are. Stand up, please. Yeah. I say this every time I get to speak about the park. They're probably our number one amenity around the city. If you look around at our parks and all that they have, look at this beautiful, beautiful place for us to assemble all through the park, and they keep going on, and we'll talk about that. We have 8 scenic parks. We have a wellness center, and they keep trying to get me in that new one, and golly, countless opportunities to join in recreational activities throughout the city. Our Parks Department hosts many events throughout the year for the community. People from all across the metro come to all kinds of events in Belton. They did impact studies economically, and it's astronomical how much money they bring in with their events into our community. They hosted the Big Bounce America, which was the biggest bounce house in America. That was 10,000 square feet, and they asked me not to sit on it. Okay, but it's gigantic. I came to see Mamma Mia this year. Spectacular. These events in the park that we have right out here, pretty spectacular. We had more than 180 events held at Memorial Station this year, 360 days, and we had 180 events. a new 501c foundation called Friends of the Park. It was created, which will benefit park improvement projects, including the Sloan Tribby Log Cabin, which is historical. So they're always looking for donations to get that going. You're going to hear some great historical stories about that cabin. So we hope that we get donations to get that going really fast. Our park department continues to build community partnerships with countless hours of work from service groups, volunteers, cleaning streams, planting trees, youth sports, and special events. They're everywhere in our city. You just got to look. They're everywhere. Beautification is important to quality of life, and they continue to provide beautification not only in the parks but throughout the city. Now, additionally, we merged our tree board with the parks, and it gets a lot more cohesive, and Kevin Feedback was the one that did a lot of the tree work, and so it just made it a natural. So they're doing a great job, our tree board. There was a lot of facility maintenance at High Blue Wellness Center this year. It included the roof improvement where it was replaced, the Wellness Center. Majority of parking lot was repaired and relined. And if you're old like I am, you need the lines. Being systemic, you got to know that from the data that we use from our strategic planning, City Council knows that roads and infrastructure are important to our citizens. And City Council made the hard decision to ask students to consider bonds for storm and street improvements. Now, thank you to our citizens did recognize it was important, and they passed that. Legislation and infrastructure does matter. And again, you know, our staff gets thankless jobs doing all those things, filling potholes, doing all the work around the city, and they've done a great job. We need our streets, needed immediate attention to make sure that we understood the condition of each and every street. The city hired a group called Stantec, which was a consulting firm to evaluate pavement conditions. If you ever see them, they were doing cores in all the streets so that it was systemic on whose streets needed to be replaced. Each and every street was rated from failed to good. The data collected is displayed on a map that can be found on our city website, and citizens can see how their street, oh yeah, there it is, okay. How their street ranks. Don't let them see that too long because I want to get out of here. Okay. Work began immediately with streets that had no curb and the worst rating. We started with West Belton, Central Belton, and Northeast Belton. To date, we have improved 10 miles, lane miles of road at a cost of $2.6 million. Staff is planning and developing a list of streets for construction for 2020. That'll be on the website. Adequate storm sewers increased the life of our streets and decreased flooding. 2012, we had a stormwater master plan, was created and identified 30 storm water improvement projects throughout the city. With the money from the bond issuance, we hope to complete these priority projects. They're ranked. Storm sewer repairs were numerous. Due to the historical rainfall this year, we did have last year 2 days where we had 17 inches of rain, which is incredible. We have had 16 sinkholes. 10 have been repaired, and we're currently repairing 6 more. I know how many of you see our crews throughout the city and wonder what's going on. They're everywhere. It's the city maintaining our infrastructure because it does matter. We had 2 major sanitary sewer projects. Across the street from Menards, we rerouted an exposed sewer main out of a creek bed to avoid sewer stream contamination. Believe me, DNR does not appreciate sewer breaks in their creeks and streams. We had an emergency project near Hillcrest Steam Academy. Crews repaired a sewer main that had been exposed in a creek bed after the bank collapsed with heavy rains. Water line improvement projects are currently underway. Crews are upsizing, replacing 5,000 feet of falling water mains. Our infrastructure is old, and it hasn't been kept up, and we have to get it there. An Adopt a Stream program was formalized to increase community involvement in the city's clean water efforts, and this program is in conjunction with the Grand River Watershed Alliance and with the Park Department. Leading the way are the Fairfield Inn, Belton Raymore Rotary Club, Raising Canes, as they are the first businesses to adopt a stream. Now, this project is important to our city, and to our city manager is pretty passionate about adopt a stream. And the reason, of course, for that is another facet of cleaning up our city. People all over continue to request tours of the state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. The request comes from international groups, other local municipalities, and students. Now, I was a part of a group that came from Nepal, which is in the foothills of the Himalayas, that came to our wastewater treatment plant, and they were awed by what our staff showed them. And they went back, and if you know anything about Nepal, all those places in the high mountains, Cherrapunji, Jarpeeling, lots and lots of rain, lots and lots of rain. So people all over continue to come to us. Thank you to the citizens of Belton. The public safety sales tax was passed in 2018, started collecting in 2019. We have an oversight committee that's been formed and convened. The revenue generated so far has paid for an ambulance and protective gear. Thanks to the public sales tax, our fire department, we're going to talk about, it's fully staffed. Thank goodness, because it's been a busy year. And you'll know that from the statistics I'm going to show in the slides. One stat that I'd be specifically to mention here is the total training hours. And Chief Staff does a great job. They'd had 6,937 training hours. When they're not putting out fires, saving lives, they're still hard at work for the community. They do that in several ways. One is by inspecting building plans, construction sites, business, and fire sprinklers. And with all the new constructions, we're running them ragged. They also make public presentations, which include station tours, events, and with the most recent being the Fire Prevention Week. Our police department has had a busy year. Public safety sales tax has allowed for the hiring of 6 positions that were frozen in last year's budget. These positions would have been eliminated from future years' budgets had the public safety sales tax not been supported by voters. Additionally, the city was able to add 4 new officer positions to this year's budget, increasing public safety services to citizens. And purchase public safety equipment, vehicles, and computer equipment for officers. As of today, they have filled 6 positions, and the additional positions that are actively seeking 2 more officers. In addition to the work they do every day protecting and serving our community, they are involved in many community initiatives. Belton Cares, which is a big factor in our community. The coalition works with vital sectors to effect positive change for youth. I know the police worked real hard with Belton Cares, with the seatbelt legislation that went through the state of Missouri and made a big effect in our community. Citizen Academy Return, great program that teaches citizens about the daily life of a police officer. Neighborhood Watch, these groups really picked up the speed this year and have made a tremendous difference in the communities. I've personally been to 26 neighborhood meetings, and they're interesting, and it really has helped. And I can, just off the top of my head, I know that looking at the data with crime in certain areas, I know in West Belton, the crime is just gone down exponentially. It's incredible. If you look at the whole map, and we do it by wards, and Councilwoman Peak is in with me, and we dissect the data. It was, what did we have last month, or this last month, in crime in West Belton? Like six crimes in a whole month, and they weren't like big crimes. So it's making a difference, is my whole point. Also, we're down to DARE, still critical. National Night returned this year. That was fun, and it does make a difference. Now, we did have a great loss this year with Belton Cares, one of our reserve police officers. Troy Shaw served with the department since 2015 as reserve officer. He worked the full time with the Belton School District, and I remember him even when he was a student. He served as the director of Belton Cares, which is a nonprofit group that serves to better our local community. All of us, we're lucky enough to know him, are better for it. And you all got to know that we're going to miss him sorely. He's a great guy. Another great amenity, our city offices is the Eagles Landing Course. Are you here, officer of the, where are you, golf? Where's our pro? There you are. Okay. We had over 22,000 rounds of golf being played this year. Course hosted multiple golf tournaments, raising thousands of dollars for our community. It is the home course for the Belton High School boys and girls teams. The Midwest Section PGA Hope event for our veterans, which stands for Helping Our Patriots Everywhere, was a great success. 2 U.S. kids tournaments were held. There were over 200 kids that participated and more than 400 parents and guests in attendance. The first ever Light Up the Night glow-in-the-dark golf tournament was hosted by the Belton Chamber of Commerce. There's our chamber again. And they're still looking for 2 people out in the dark that never came back. The problem is that the clerk over there, Fletcher, they said that he played the best game he had ever had. They couldn't see. Okay. Our planning and building economic development departments have had a hard year. Code enforcement was one of the City Council's top priorities. We are committed to maintaining a high standard of living for all residents, and we want to ensure a safe and pleasant environment which enhances property values and quality of life. Our values of our property is going up again exponentially, and that's the price we pay. It's going up good. If you look and see that it is going up, our property values. Our citizens deserve safe and, again, attractive neighborhoods. To help the council codes, meet the council code's enforcement goals, a second code enforcement officer who works under our new certified building official has been hired. Raise your hand over there, Ben, please. That's Ben. If you have a complaint, just go to Ben. Okay. Just kidding, Ben. In place now, and Ben, you're a Belton graduate. Yeah, thank you. In the month of October, the code enforcement team issued 160 violation notices for a total of 230 code violations. So that were performed 180 re-inspections revealing self-abated properties. The city abated 5 properties. With the help of the Belton community and law enforcement, 8 dangerous blighted buildings have been torn down this year, including high-profile problem structures. And I think that some of these buildings were monuments. You probably know where they were at, a lot of them. I've heard no one is building housing in Belton. That's simply not true. Each and every existing subdivision in the city of Belton is being built out. The trend is infill because infrastructure like roads, storm sewer, water lines, for example, are expensive, and so builders are going where the infrastructure already exists. If you go over in Johnson County, they have roads and sewers and everything already in place 5 miles south of existence, out in nowhere. And that's how it's going to work. The available lots in Cherry Hill on Tanner have been purchased, and the developer will construct villa homes. The Traditions, the Plateau, Emerson Park, Eagle Crest, Autumn Ridge, Fairway Ridge. That's just a few. 81 total new construction housing permits have been issued with a $14 million capital investment in 2019. In addition, single-family housing, multiple family housing, city staff is working to attract a market rate luxury apartments to our community to accommodate renters by choice. Folks, I don't know if you've noticed, but we are growing really fast, and it's painful. And economic development is doing a great job, and I know that Bob gave us the statistics in the 118 counties in Missouri. Cass County is in the top 10 in the state of Missouri of 118 counties. The big thing with us with economic development is practical partnerships. You gotta have practical partnerships. In 2019, we have had $20.6 million in capital investment in adding 496,000 square feet of industrial and commercial real estate. Small business is still the fabric of our business community, and they continue to pick Belton as a location to start and grow their business. Lanonia, help me. Max Motors has expanded into Belton, Roadside Bar and Grill. One more scoop. The Main Street Performing Arts Center. That's an expansion. Now, where are you at, Michelle? She had to leave. Michelle Richardson and Chris have bought 4 properties on Main Street. Main Street is alive. There's a lot of action on Main Street right now. We have to shop there every now and then too, though. So get out there during your holiday shopping and get on Main Street. The Greenleaf, The KC Reptarium and Educational Center on North Scott, Phoenix Natural Wellness, Bright Car Wash, Organic Hemp Botanicals. Due to our advantageous location with KC Metro and our Economic Development Department being a one-stop shop, we continue to attract the national and regional restaurants, retail, and hotels, such as the Fairfield Inn is about to open. Okay, thank God. Domino's, Abbott Hotel, which is an IHG hotel, has been purchased, the parcel on Marquee Parkway, which is going to be right behind Home Depot. Raising Cane's, Ulta, Target was remodeled, and they spent a lot of money, and they also added a Starbucks. Aspen Dental, which is on the Marquee down by Menards. Aspen Dental. Casey's new prototype will be right across from Cracker Barrel, okay, right there. Five Guys is coming up in the Cedar Tree development. Right over here, Carnegie Village has again continued to build and expand to serve the needs of our senior population. They're great partners. They're really great partners. They just completed a new $1 million expansion of the Rehabilitation Healthcare Center on the heels of its $9.5 million expansion in 2017. Belton School District is doing great things. Belton School District is on fire. I'm telling you, not literally, sorry, fire people. Just completed a $30 million expansion of the high school. If you haven't been in, you got to see the Aquatic Center. It's spectacular, new classrooms, office space, and the Performing Arts Center is just marvelous, and the gymnasium. They're really beautiful. It really makes it nice. Just last month, they were designated a fourth-generation learning community by the philanthropic arm of Ford Motor Company. How many cities in the state or in the United States are there? Where are you? How many are there, Stacy? We're number 34? Number 34 communities, and we're honored that that's going to be a part of our community. Our economic developer, Carolyn Yatsik, is a member of the convening organization along with the Chamber, the Educational Foundation, and the Cass County Corporation for Economic Development. The headline in the Kansas City Business Journal reads, Belton Regional Medical Center growing population drives expansion. Just announced the $15.5 million expansion of their intensive care unit, and it is on fire, folks. Our regional hospital is really turning it up a lot, and we really appreciate it. Todd Crass is the CEO of the Belton Regional Medical Center, and he's really doing a phenomenal job at furthering our health care. Now, they are great partners, the regional hospital is, and our hospital has come a long way. It really has. And if you know Todd at all, he expects the best. He expects everybody to get better all the time. It's kind of like a head coach. Get better or go home. And he's doing a great job, and we appreciate, and congratulations to the regional hospital. Southview Commerce Center is a game changer for the city of Belton. It's master planned for 5 state-of-the-art buildings for a total footprint of 2 million square feet. Now, I don't know if you know much about economic development, that's a lot. The first building, we'll talk about its dimensions in a minute. This investment is $135 million investment in our community, 1,400 to 2,000 anticipated jobs. North Point Development broke ground just 1 year ago and now stands building number 1. That's 456,000 square feet. That's one of the smaller buildings that's going to be built there. North Point, incredible partners. A lease has been signed. The single tenant is taking the entire building. The tenant announcement will be made soon. I really thought we were going to announce it today, but it's pretty special. And they told me not to say it. North Point plans to work through the winter as winter allows, which just started today, to construct building number 2. And at the same time, you got to know that Southview Commerce Center is the finalist in the state of Missouri for Project Unity, KCADC project. If Belton wins this project for the state of Missouri, Project Unity will take building number 4. Casey's General, looking forward. You got to know that that's the new prototype next to Cracker Barrel. It'll double the size of existing locations. So this is going to be the same thing that we've done with Quick Trips. We get all the new prototypes right now. A lot of them are going bigger, better, making a difference. So we expect construction to start in the spring. Aspen Dental will be at the corner of Y and Markey. Fairfield Inn will open. We anticipate Avid Hotel to submit construction documents. We will continue to market the city owned by the Markey Business Park to industry. The site is now recognized by site selectors worldwide and has been a finalist for Project Toto and more recently Project Precision. I was on the KCADC board, and they give neat names to all the projects so nobody knows who they are. Okay, Belton Regional Medical Center, again, the ICU expansion, and we continue to rebuild stormwater street infrastructure from the bond issuance. More infrastructure needs ahead. We continually invest our infrastructure. The realignment of Peculiar Drive to alleviate traffic on 58 and I-49, we're having meetings all the time about that. We continue to work regionally, and folks, and I can't be more than emphatic that we try to work with all the people in Cass County because we know if they do well, we'll do well. And we really believe that. Belton, Raymore, Cass County are working with MoDOT for the reconstruction of 58 interchange and the widening of I-49. And again, thank you for those who have made comments online. We asked for about the traffic on 58 highway. How many trips a day? 40,000 trips a day across the I-49 bridge. In closing, it's important to know that we have major strides accomplished in 2019 on the top 3 city council priorities. That was road infrastructure and infrastructure, public safety, code enforcement. And in 2020, we continue to make important headway with these 3 priorities in partnership with the Belton community. Thank you so much.